Hey everyone, Darren Eastman here, product manager as always for GitLab Runner, and today I have Hannah Verissimo, our staff manager, staff product designer for Verifying for Runner. Hi Hannah, say hello to the folks.
Hi everyone, happy to be here.
Cool. Hey, so today we'll keep it short and sweet. If you folks have been following on the Runner channel, at the beginning of the year, we I published a direction video talking about the Runner vision and strategy, so that's available. Today, we're just going to be focused very tactically on the key items that we're working actively to ship in the next iteration for Runner, which is 13.9. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Hannah and talk a bit more about what's happening in 13.9, or we're actually planning to ship in 13.9 related to UI/UX and all things enterprise management. Hannah?
Awesome. So we know that the big item for Runner UX is the enterprise management of the Runner experience. And this item in 13.9 talks about the system usability as an important theme for GitLab. So it's a super hot topic. And it revolves around enabling automated install of self-managed runners initiated from the GitLab UI. So today is when users have to install at some point. They go in the UI, they're doing their thing, and they have to switch context and go to the documentation to find more information. They go back to the UI. So we want to make that experience seamless to them. And they're going to be able to install everything in context with the application. So this issue is something that has been developed in the past, right, Darren, and now finally got to the point where we're going to ship the UI. So really excited about this. It's going to be a small change that's going to help improve the usability of Runner as a whole. So yeah, looking forward to see the results and see how people are going to react to it.
Hey, thanks, Hannah. Yeah, and as Hannah said, we talked about this a few releases back. We actually had the code ready to go. It was in the code base, and we found a few things we wanted to improve, so we pulled it back. But we feel pretty stoked and pretty comfortable now that we'll actually finally get this into the product in 13.9, and then looking forward to all the great things in collaboration with Hannah. As we improve usability for managing runners in the UI, all of the different settings, enterprise group instance level. So we have hopefully a lot of great things planned this year, a lot of work to do. And so we'll spend some more time talking about those in the near future. And feel free to jump in any time during this. We're going to keep it interactive. So in terms of other things happening in Runner in 13.9, as always, as everyone knows, we have a Kanban board for Runner. So there are a number of active community contributions in flight. A number of active pieces of work in flight, but what we focus on this iteration plan is a few key critical discrete features that we want to call attention to that we are actively working to ship in 13.9. So the first one I just want to chat really briefly about in the Runner core. And again, for us, just a reminder, Runner core, when we talk about Runner core, we're talking about the core Runner code base, the application, the engine that makes GitLab CI run. The first thing that we're looking at in 13.9, we talked about in 13.8, which we're not quite finished, is this whole concept of expanding the variables in Rails. And it's a little bit verbose, so let me click over it and give you a little context. It's expanding variables in Rails for topological sort. Basically, this is allowing users of GitLab pipelines to define a variable within the GitLab YAML, CI YAML file and use that defined variable later on within that same file. So we were pretty close in getting this shipped in 13.8. We still have a little bit of reviews to do on the active MRs. So we're now working actively to complete those and ship this in 13.9 behind a feature flag. So the idea is in 13.9, you'll be able to take advantage of this feature behind a feature flag. We still plan on doing additional UI work to introduce a toggle later on so that you can actually turn on and off this feature within the UI. But in 13.9, the idea is you can start taking advantage of this variable inside other variables feature in your GitLab YAML file. So that's Runner core 13.9. And to be fair, just there's a little bit of like splitting hairs. Even though we're saying this is on the Runner core, most of the code, all of the code for this is actually now happening in outside of the core Runner code base, but we're keeping it within Runner core because our Runner core team engineers are working on it. The last two things that we're working on, and really this is really part of the core Runner core base of 13.9, is PowerShell core support, both in the Docker executor in Linux, as well as the Kubernetes executor. As folks know, we've enabled PowerShell core support in GitLab Runner some releases back. I can't recall off the top of my head which release that was in, These last two pieces of work rounds out that portfolio. And so just to give everyone sort of a bit of understanding of what that means is, when you look at our matrix, let me just grab this really fast, right? When we're talking about PowerShell core support, today we have PowerShell core support in version 7.0. It's available in the Docker Windows Executive. So that's available now. So what we're doing now is rounding out that capability set by adding the PowerShell 7's core support in the executive for Docker Linux, right? So if you're on Docker Linux, then you can take advantage of the PowerShell, right, as a shell environment within your Docker Linux executive and then Windows. So that's what we're working on delivering in 13.9, is rounding out that feature set. So we have complete coverage for PowerShell as a shell in the Runner code base. So that's what's happening in the quote unquote Runner core work stream for 13.9. Some of the key items we're working to deliver. For Runner Cloud in 13.9, we're working on our Mac OS Build Cloud Autoscaler. We are pretty close on getting the autoscaler done. So that work we'll start seeing some of the work showing up in the autoscaler code base in 13.9. Folks that are following the autoscaler can take a look at that. In terms of how users interact with that autoscaler and how customers in the community will interact with the autoscaler, this autoscaler is the foundation of the new Mac OS Build Cloud. The Mac OS Build Cloud is currently in closed beta. And so when we wrap up the autoscaler work, the initial MVC, if you will, of the autoscaler work in 30.9, it sets the stage for us to start pivoting towards an open beta construct for the Mac OS Build Cloud. So you're looking at, a couple of releases after 13.9, we'll be announcing the availability of the Mac OS Build Cloud in the beta from a beta perspective. And the reason is it's the foundational work here, the autoscaler is pretty close to being wrapped up. So those are the key things that we're working on from the Run team in 13.9. Want to just hand over to Hyanna and say, Hyanna, thank you so much for joining the team. I'm super looking forward to collaborating with you on doing some really interesting things and improving Runner user management. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of interesting problems to solve. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to support the team.
Awesome. We'll go. Everyone have a great day. As always, if you need specific questions or you have a specific question about an issue or feature capability that, hey, if you're trying to figure out where it's at, feel free to ping me directly on the issue. It's the Eastman. Also drop me an email, theeastman@gitlab.com, and so on. So with that said, talk to you soon. Cheers.